Hey, welcome back to Tim Sinesi Yoga. I'm Tim Sinesi from timsinesiyoga.com, and I'm here today with Johanna Maggie from @JohannaMaggie on Instagram. Make sure to check her out and follow her on there. And today we're going to be doing a video that introduces you into forward extensions. So more commonly you hear forward bends, but I'd like you to think of it as extending as you go forward. So we're going to introduce that movement to the body. Let's begin on the back. Lie down on your back with the soles of your feet together and your knees wide apart. So just take a few moments here to shift gears and start to enhance your awareness inward. So we can do that just by focusing on the sensation of the breath. With your eyes closed, feel your breath, how it's moving in through your nose. And just tune into the subtlety of sensation of the feeling of the breath traveling in and out through your nose. Feel the air as it passes through, whether it's warm or cool. Then bring your knees together and stretch your legs out along the floor. Supta Tadasana. Now press through your feet like they're up against a wall. Adjust your thighs until it feels like the four corners of your knees are pointing straight up to the ceiling. So for most, we'll have to kind of roll the inner thighs down so that the toes and the knees point straight up. Then for just a moment, grab the sides of your sticky mat and turn your inner arm to your outer arm. Roll the shoulder head open. Most of us, myself included, throughout the day we live with the shoulders hanging in front of the chest and the upper back rounded like this. So feel as you rotate the arms how naturally the chest starts to open. You don't have to try to rip the mat in two, but that gentle pull to help to rotate and open the shoulder. Good. And so feel your thigh bones in this neutral position. They're not turned in, they're not turned out. Now bend your knees and put your feet on the floor. And it's a good idea before we stretch something to kind of work it a little bit. So we're going to work the back body by doing a little bit of bridge lifts. So as you exhale, lift your hips up. And as you're lifting up, press those upper arm bones down into the floor. Feel your chest open. Turn the knees straight ahead. And then feel the backs of your legs start to squeeze. Feel the middle of each butt cheek itself move in and up, and then like it's moving towards the back of your knee as the back of the knee moves closer to the buttock. Slowly lower your buttock back down. Inhale. Exhale, lift back up. Reach the upper arm bones down. Inhale, slowly lower yourself down. Exhale, lift back up. Now make sure you don't push too much from the bottom of your rib cage. Lift more from the legs and stretch through the front of your hips down into your knees. Slowly lower yourself down as you inhale. Exhale, lift back up. Two more times. Inhale, slowly lower yourself down. Exhale, lift back up. Feel your neck long, your tailbone long. Inhale, slowly lower back down. Exhale, lift back up. Now hold in this up position, and without letting your hips twist, bring your right leg up into tabletop. Push through your inner left foot. Imagine you're squeezing a block in between your thighs. Good, now slowly lower your left buttock, but keep that right leg up. And then lift your buttock back up. Slowly lower your buttock. Lift back up. One more, slowly lower your buttock, strong in your core, feel it. Back up, hold, and set your right foot down. Good. Fix the legs, knees straight ahead. Are your knees starting to wander out to the side? Bring your left leg up. You should feel the burn. Okay, bring the left leg up into table. Reach those shoulder heads and upper arm bones down. And then inhale, slowly lower your rump. Exhale, back up. Inhale, slowly lower. Exhale, back up. Inhale, slowly lower. Exhale, back up. One more. Inhale, slowly lower. Exhale, back up. Then set your left foot down. Good. Lower your hips down. Nice job. Okay, let's do a little stretch. Baddha Konasana legs. Soles of the feet together, knees apart. Stretch your arms up. Hook your thumbs and reach your arms overhead. Good. So as you're stretching, don't lose the awareness of your core. If anything throughout this little series, I hope that you're learning that in each pose you should have this little bit of tension here in your middle to help to prevent you from sinking into your back, and it's really going to help you to get into the places that you're trying to stretch. So lengthen through your tailbone, reach the middle tailbone down into the floor. Feel the rib cage draw in just slightly so you can get better into the stretch in your lats and your serratus. Bring your arms back up. Then roll over to your side. Press yourself up to seated. And then take child's pose. So already as we're getting into just a little bit of hip flexion here, the beginnings of a forward fold movement, let's just investigate just a little bit how we go into child's pose. So come up onto your hands and your knees for a moment again. And then you can just kind of like sit back onto your feet really easy. Anybody could just flop back into their feet, but I want you to move with more awareness. So imagine that you could draw up from your pelvic floor and your lower belly and move the energy up through your spine, up through your crown, like someone's pulling a string on the top of your head. Now, as you go to sit back, keep the energy traveling up the spine. So it's almost like, imagine someone was pulling a string forward on your head as you're trying to sit back. And just feel how the stretch feels different. Keep going slowly so you could feel the stretch forward as your hips go back. And we want to feel this pull in each of the poses that we do today. So we're not just like hanging into anything. Now, if you don't go as deep as you're used to going, that's fine. In fact, that's better. You're actually learning how to get into the right muscles while you're doing the pose. Then come back up onto your hands and your knees, and we'll practice it one more time. Feel your length of your spine, and then slowly start to sit yourself back. But keep lifting from the pelvic floor up through the crown like you're being resisted. Slowly, slowly. Good. Now there's a point where there'll be a tendency just to collapse into your shoulders. I want you to avoid this. And if you have a prop at home like a block, you can put a block underneath your head. So slowly sit the hips back and then let the head lower, but don't let the inner shoulders sink towards the floor. That's a good child's pose. You never would have thought there's so much into just sitting back onto your heels, right? Feel the length of your spine, feel the opening that's happening here, how much different it feels. Now open up the skin of your hands, your fingers, feel them spread, and then feel all the arm muscles get longer through the reach of the fingers. Then come back up onto your hands and your knees. And we'll practice going back into down dog now. So curl the toes under, the same spinal action as you stretch your hips up and back. Start to lift the hips up and reach back, but imagine that your spine is getting pulled long as you do. And then keep that rotation of the inner armpits, inner shoulders going forward. Reach from the outer arms down into your hands. Good, then walk your feet forward to the front of your mat. Put a bend in your knees, and then make a flat back. Come up onto your fingertips or slide your hands up onto your shins, but make sure that you really have this flat back. Then fold forward. Keep the bend in the knees as you warm up your spine. Now inhale, come into the flat back with the fingertips on the floor as best you can. Or if you're very limited in your hamstrings, you can put your fingertips on blocks like I'm doing. Step your left foot back into a lunge. Slide your hands back under your shoulders. And then as you press down through your left big toe mound, stretch the inner leg. And then imagine that child's pose action through your spine again. Like you're being lifted from the core of your spine up through your crown. Good, then step back into down dog, stretch back. Now remember, if this is too much on your wrists or your shoulders, you can always do child's pose instead of down dog. Down dog eventually will become like kind of a not so much work, but it takes work and practice so that it becomes easier. Walk your feet forward again to the front of your mat. Bend your knees a little. Inhale, make a flat back. Then step your right leg back into the lunge. Now remember, you can use the blocks, or if you could put your hands up on books or whatever you have at home. Now, a little more subtle, feel the left heel bone descend and your left thigh bone plug into the socket. Lift from your pelvic floor, feel your lower belly rise, and then reach through your crown straight ahead. Step back to down dog. Good, then one more time, walk your feet forward to the front of your mat. Inhale, make a flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come all the way up to stand, raise your arms up. Then bring your hands to your heart. Release your arms down at your side. Nice. Let your hips balance right over top of your ankles. Press down through the center of your left heel, and we'll work a little bit of balance here. As you press down through the center of your left heel, bring your right knee up towards your chest. But try to keep your spine very tall. Don't let your spine shrink as your knee comes up. Then bring your hands to your knee. Grow the left leg long again as you reach to your heel. Feel the spine tall up over your left heel. Good, lower that leg down. Press down through the center of your right heel, bring your left knee up. Then bring your hands to your left knee. And as you stretch straight down through the center of the right heel, feel your spine tall up over your ankle. Good job, lower your leg back down. Change sides, bring your right knee up. Bring your left hand to your right knee, and as you press down through the center of your left heel, raise your right arm up to the ceiling. Feel the same feeling like you're being pulled up through your crown, through your spine. Stretch your left leg. Bring your hand and your knee back down. Change sides, left knee up. Right hand to the knee, and raise your left arm. You're getting pretty good balance. Look at that. Okay, lower your leg and your arm. And with a little bend in your knees, fold forward. Then come up onto your shins, make a flat back. Now create that same child's pose feeling, like you're being pulled out through your crown. Remember, you can bend your knees to help to alleviate back tension. Then step back into a plank position. Balance your shoulders right over your wrists. And if plank is too much on your wrists or your shoulders, you can just do it with your knees down until you start to develop more strength in your upper body. Good. Now let me see if you can hold this length in your spine. Keep firing the muscles of your spine. Without rounding or sinking, bring your right knee up to your chest. Try to hold the perfect plank length in your spine. Reach to the left foot. Good, now take your right arm forward. No, I'm just kidding. You can't do that. Change sides. Slowly bring the left knee up. Hold that plank length. Good. Stretch the leg back. Lie down on your belly. Belly back bend. Inhale into cobra pose. Point your toes back. Turn the outer thighs down towards the floor. Lift from your belly up towards your heart. Lower your chest back down and stretch back into child's pose. As you're stretching back into child's, don't rush it. Go slow so you can feel your spine lengthen and you can really get into the hips. Come back up onto hands and knees and stretch back into your down dog. Good. Now for this next one, I'm going to recommend blocks. Step your right foot up to your right thumb. And then step your back foot a little bit closer and turn the heel down for Parsvottanasana. Straighten your right leg as best you can and come up onto your fingertips onto blocks. So in this pose, we're trying to reach down evenly through the feet, through the big toe mound, little toe mound, and center heel. And then the same child's pose, feeling like you're growing your spine. Grow the legs longer, grow the spine tall. Okay, so now as we start to introduce the forward extension or forward bending action, we're going to do it with this idea of elongating through the whole spine as you go forward over your leg. So especially reach down through your right big toe mound and then draw up the inseam of your right leg up into your belly. Feel your bandha turn on from there. And then see if you could turn the blocks down a notch and take them forward. So you start to introduce this forward extension. Now if that's easy, if like you're feeling like, oh, I'm not feeling much stretch, you could try putting your hands flat onto the floor. But if you're here on a scale of 1 to 10, you're already at a 5, just stay there. Because we want to feel that there's a balance between effort and surrender in each pose. That's how we're going to make the body more flexible. If you like jam yourself into the deepest stretch right away, then your nerves aren't going to like that and they're going to respond by creating more muscular tension. So you'll just be defeating the purpose of doing stretches. Now, wherever you are, at the last second, let your head start to drop into the pose and feel the whole back of the spine lengthen evenly. Notice if it feels like parts of the spine are trying to resist the forward and down movement. Inhale, flat back. Good, now step back to down dog. Bring your hands down, stretch back. Then step your left foot up. Set up your back heel. Good. Maybe a little further back with your back foot. Okay, cool. So connect down into your left big toe mound and draw up from there, up the inseam of the leg. Imagine from your pelvic floor, the spine is being stretched out through your crown. And feel that the whole spine is starting to open up evenly. Breathe. Then start to explore going deeper. So maybe turn the blocks down a notch and take them out in front of you. But if you feel like, oh, that's too much pull on my hamstrings, I'm going up to like an 8, then you're not ready. Just stay up on the tall blocks and work the flat back. It might be that you stay at that position for 3 months for the beginning of your yoga career. So I'll just share with you, I had this like skateboarding injury last year where I hurt my knee and I couldn't practice yoga for like 6 months. I couldn't even do any yoga. And then to get back into it, I had to do on the tall blocks. I did that for 3 or 4 months before I could even fold forward again. And that's after a whole lifetime of practicing yoga. So just be patient with your body. Don't jam yourself into stuff. Now, if you're already going deeper and you feel like here at the last end of it, you could let the head start to drop into it and let the whole back of the spine open, cool. But remember, if you're up tall on the blocks, just working on length there, that's your stretch. Just be there and be satisfied with that. Be content. Make the flat back again, inhale, and step back to downward facing dog. So that's really what Johanna was showing, is a very extreme. We don't think of it because we see like these images of people doing yoga and we just think like, oh, that's normal. That's extreme flexibility to get the whole body to do that with straight legs. That's very rare that I see that people can do that. For most people, just up on tall blocks is enough. So now you know. Walk your hands back to your feet. And then with a little bend in your knees, slowly roll yourself up to stand. Cool. Now let's take our mat over to the wall. So one of the most important for core strength and back body health is to be able to sit in an L shape up against the wall. So we're going to sit with the back against the wall and the legs stretched out in front of you. Now you might notice at home that when you sit like this, your buns want to tuck under, so you'd benefit from sticking junk underneath your trunk so that you're not tucked under. Adjust the flesh of your buttocks so that you can feel your sit bones, those little bones down at the bottom. And you want to feel that those bones are pointing straight down. They're not tucked under at all. You'll feel that they want to move towards each other and under, but instead, let them uncurl and reach straight down into the floor. Then, grow your spine tall straight up over those bones. Bring your hands to your side. Like at the beginning of class, roll the inner shoulder to the outer shoulder. Feel your spine erect. Then the last part, adjust your feet like they're up against the wall. This is a super important pose for your core. Just as important as doing crunches. Being able to hold your spine upright with your legs stretched out in front of you. Super rare that people can be able to do this. Again, this is an image of rare and extreme. This is a very healthy body that has the health to stretch the hamstrings like that. So for you at home, it might look a little more like I'm doing with the knees bent to be able to get up straight. Or you might have a block underneath your butt to get the legs straight. So wherever you're doing to get the spine tall, that's the important thing. And I'd recommend that you check yourself out in a mirror. Okay, cool. Now let's try one other pose while we're here. The beginning of Janu Shirshasana. Bend your right knee off to the side. And then sit up tall, looking at your left big toe. So the first thing that you want to be able to feel when you're practicing Janu Shirshasana is your thighs can release down and away from each other. They're not lifted up to the ceiling. So if that is going really well, maybe you've been practicing this series for a while, you've been doing these videos and you're like, okay, I've already done this series, I've done it like 7 times, I'm starting to get flexible. Then you could start to try to reach for the foot and strap it. And then once you get that, you want to get that lifted spine quality again. And then each day, like maybe over the course of a few months, you'll be able to like angle yourself more forward until maybe you can get to like the halfway point. And that's really good if you can let the thighs release down. But if you feel the thighs start to lift up and your spine is reacting and shrinking, then it's counterproductive. So don't rush, just be where you're at. Come back up, change sides. Straighten the right leg, bend the left knee back. Phase 1, just work on sitting up against the wall. It's pretty challenging just to be able to get the spine height and let the thighs release down and away, legs straight. If you feel like that's already coming well, you've practiced that for a while, then you can go for the strap action and start to angle yourself forward. Whatever you're doing, stay connected to your breath and the sensation in your body. Good job. Inhale, come back up. All right. Now to finish, lie down on your back with the legs up the wall. If you're really interested in developing healthy hamstrings, and if your back body is already super tight, you can practice this at night before you go to bed, because this little stretch will start to set the neurological pathway for length for the hamstrings, so that when you're sleeping, they'll be able to stay more open. Instead of wanting to contract and curl you up into a fetal position, your body will start to feel more comfortable in opening up while you're sleeping. And so that will help with your yoga practice. So great thing to do at night before bed, but also at the end of your practice to help to open up in a passive way. So we're just going to do Shavasana here. Close your eyes and relax. Now make sure that your buttock is far enough, pulling you back out of the Shavasana. Make sure your buttock is far enough away from the wall so that it feels like your tailbone drops down. So you know how to scoot just a little bit away from the wall? So we could see like what a mere mortal would have to do. That's good. So it might even be that your hips are like 8 to 12 inches away from the wall to get the legs to go straight and to let the tailbone drop down so your butt's not curled under like that. Whatever you have to do, that's fine. Just be there, be content, don't jam yourself. Now close your eyes and relax. So come back to observing your breath. And just practice tuning into the subtlety of sensation. And bend your knees. Roll over to your side. And press up. So I just want to show you one quick thing. If your legs are really tight and they want to turn out because your glute max is too tight, it'll want to turn your thighs out in that position. You can always strap your thighs. You can bind them just with you get the idea. You just strap them and then cinch them like that, and they have to stay together. They don't fall apart. Okay, so that's something that you can do until the hips start to get healthier. Thanks for watching and for tuning into the series. I hope you enjoy it. Share it with a friend who's new to yoga, who you think could benefit from learning from this stuff, loved ones, family members. Appreciate your support, and also make sure to like the video. Hit the subscribe button. If you have any questions about what we learned today or any comments, leave them below. I love hearing from you. And the last thing I want to encourage you to do is to follow my friend Johanna on Instagram. Make sure to go over on Instagram right now and follow her. Her Instagram tag is @JohannaMaggie. And then also, we got some stuff coming up. We're going to be doing a workshop and a retreat together. So make sure to tune in to see what she's doing and stuff that we'll be doing in the future. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Namaste.